Geeks and Gamers, Matt here with Through Gamer Goggles, and I'm here with not End of, but End Transmission Games. They are a micro press. It's kind of like a micro brewery.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only less tasty.
And there's overlap. I am Devon Oratz, co-owner, and I'm the line developer for the Singularity System, Splinter, and Dice Punk. And this is my partner.
I'm Mikaela and I turn his manuscripts into things that look a little more like books.
She's an artiste.
Oh no, not anymore.
She's an artist, and she's also our art director, and she does our layout, so she's a triple
threat. And she's
threat.
the model.
And fiction.
She's got writing in there too.
I do have writing in here. Yes.
My writing is better.
He wears one
My writing is better.
Hat,
My writing is better by a distressingly small margin.
He wears one large hat, and I wear many hats stacked on top of one another. And that is our company.
And
but
yeah,
see, her hats are stacked on top of each other. Mine are in different places in my head.
Sounds more better.
So yeah, this year we are an event partner of Gen Con.
Yes.
Which means, if I'm just going to blurt it out, that we gave the convention $25,000. And we did that coming from nowhere as underdogs that nobody had heard of, and now we are sponsoring the convention, Geneva Convention 2016, at the same tier as Fantasy Flight Games. So we are rocketing onto the scene, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I've looked at doing some sponsorship stuff, and it's way out of my league.
It was a gamble.
So for about 5 years, we could afford a booth here at Gen Con, but they wouldn't take our money because the hall was growing that fast and adding new companies that fast. So no, shouldn't say this on camera. After sponsorship, luckily we were able to get a booth.
Yes.
And that was a great coincidence. So yeah, we're a tiny company. Two of us are the whole company. We've got 3 game lines that we're trying to support and raise awareness of. Right now we've got a huge banner, which you might want to shoot for B-roll, over like the main gaming hall with our stuff. And we're in the exhibit hall all the way to the right, 2853, where our booth is. So we got games, you probably got questions, shoot.
Well, okay, let's see your games.
Okay, all right.
We got 3.
Do you want it in order of like?
Just whatever's on top.
Okay, so I'm gonna do it in order of release. So this is our first baby. This is actually the second print run of it because after the Kickstarter for the supplements, we ran out, and that was a good thing because I had no idea how to lay out a book at that time, and it was ugly as sin. So
it wasn't that bad.
Oh god, no, it was really embarrassing. So after we ran out of it, I took the opportunity to redo the layout, which made me very happy.
There were some things about the rules that were driving me nuts too, but we didn't quite have the following for a second edition. So what we did was, it's a 1.5. We did a reprint where I fixed the things that were bothering me worse.
So give the elevator pitch because you're better at it.
It's Dungeons and Dragons meets The Running Man on acid.
Actually, I just read the
And
Hunger
I can
Games.
unpack that for you as much or as little as you want.
I just read the Hunger Games. It's actually a lot. There's a lot of overlap with the Hunger Games.
Okay, fine, young people. So it's D&D meets the Hunger Games on acid.
I like Running Man better.
Me too.
I think.
But young people.
But I haven't played it yet, so her analogy might be better.
Well,
so it's a D20 game.
Hell no. Everything we do is an original system. We're not D20, we're not Fudge, we're not Fate, we don't use, and it's not like all these 3 games are their own system either. We support several systems, all of which are my own homebrew from scratch.
And they all use D6s because they are the least expensive.
I bet they are.
I may have a million polyhedrals, not everybody else does.
Let me go a little deeper into the mind screw in the form of game that is Splinter. So it's a role-playing game within a role-playing game. You play as a player in dystopian Earth in the 25th century, which is an Orwellian hell where no one has any rights or freedoms. The bread and circuses that distracts them from that is an ultra-violent virtual reality game show which takes the form of a random dungeon crawl in a randomly generated dungeon of infinite size. So your player then embodies an avatar. It is a role-playing game within a role-playing game. If you die in the game, you die in real life. But you don't die in real life. It's like the Matrix if the Matrix was a randomly generated dungeon full of were-liches and were-golems.
But it's
I'm sure they're coming out with that soon.
It's even weirder because your player thinks that they're playing an avatar, but in reality the avatars have their own personalities, and there's a mechanic in which you have to vie for control of the body.
The virtual world is more real than our own, so the characters that people are jacking into, they don't...
super deep.
It is.
And killing.
I like it.
It's the most pretentious thing we publish, but it's also a ton of fun.
And
like,
it's heavily
the fiction
inspired.
in that's got to be awesome.
It's heavily inspired by. Oh, thank you.
I really like it. And the source books, the fiction in them is even better because we got an amazing freelancer up and comer in the industry named Richard Kelly. You're going to see his name on a lot of stuff in the future. Young kid, but very good writing chops.
He's alright. He's my age.
Anyway, so the other thing is that it's not just a dungeon crawl. It's your full-on crazy science fantasy kitchen sink, because the Splinter was procedurally generated over millions of years, so it has every technology level but totally randomly assorted. So literally it's a case where within the game you go up a floor in the dungeon and you find plasma rifles.
I'm looking for, there's a picture in here of one of the characters with AA-12 shotgun.
Pictures are not going to show up, but
I know, but I just wanted to like look at it again.
I understand.
Heavily inspired
actually,
by.
Check out the cover, and you get an idea.
I'm gonna plug this guy.
Yeah, there's everything there.
You see what's going on, right?
If you have ever read
and for what it's worth,
Star
our manticores are different. All right.
Star Wars fiction. There is a writer named Matthew Woodring Stover, who primarily does Star Wars fiction, or did before Disney bought it.
Yeah, media tie and stuff.
But his original series, Acts of Cain, was a big inspiration for this, and I feel like we would be remiss if we did not mention it, because
yes,
it's a fantastic
I will tell
series.
your viewership to purchase the novel Heroes Die if you
It's
can
coming
find
back
it.
into print. No, another publisher picked it up, so it's back in print.
Purchase the novel Heroes Die.
It's really good.
It is to Splinter as, you know, Jack Vance or Tolkien is to D&D. It was a huge inspiration for us.
Yeah. It's also very well written.
Although it doesn't have any wereliches or werewolves.
No, that was us. I don't know where that came from.
But the game within a game thing, yeah.
And also the dystopian interaction with being a celebrity, which is why I say Hunger Games also ties in, because...
So where's your steampunk costume?
Oh man, I don't do steampunk. I tried
to get her a cosplay this year and she refused me hard.
I did not.
It's that thing you were talking about earlier.
No, he said...
Wait, which one?
He said...
Not the Mormons.
Why don't you do a cosplay yesterday? And I was like... Yeah.
You would do Victorian very well.
When am I gonna? I'm not going to
She's got a few good cosplays.
I'm not going to just like materialize a costume in a day.
I will buy you stuff in the dealer's hall. But all right.
No.
I wanted her to do the Suicide. I wanted her to do the Suicide Squad Harley Quinn.
I'm very purist about my costumes.
I thought she could pull it off, but
I only cosplay as characters that I am very well acquainted.
Cut up some shorts.
She doesn't care about the character of Harley Quinn or about DC Comics, so she's not going to do
her, but I don't know her. I want to cosplay something that I love.
And I just think it's a cool looking costume. I don't know.
You sell a lot more books.
That had crossed my mind also.
No, man. Maybe when I was 25.
Okay. Do we want to go to Game B?
Let's go to Game B.
Sure.
This is the next thing we put out. It is the Singularity System. It is setting agnostic science fiction. Devon and I looked at lots of science fiction
Well, hold on. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
RPGs set in the modern day or the future, where vehicles exist. Name one with really, really good vehicle combat that does its job well.
Not there.
You fucking can't.
You can't, right? We tried to patch that.
This has the greatest vehicle and starship combat ever made in a role-playing game. It also does everything you would want a military science fiction role-playing game to do. You can create your own homebrew setting or import any science fiction setting that you like from Star Trek to Star Wars. This we published in 2013 for Origins, where it launched. We did a tiny print run, and we have still not sold out of all of them. But we're getting down there. And then we might think about a second edition or something, because there's a few things I want to fix.
There's a few things I want to fix too.
I love this game, and the core rulebook is a hardcover for $25, which you're not going to get ever anywhere.
Insane.
Yeah, I know.
Well, here's what I love about it. The thing that I love about this game is the
But that's
starship
because I grew up
combat.
poor and a gamer.
Yeah, the starship combat is Have you ever played Artemis around here? It's the
Yeah.
It's Artemis only for role-playing games.
If you wanted
so,
to cross the DNA of that with a tabletop RPG, then there's a lot with Singularity.
Yeah, everybody's got a station. All the stations influence one another. Like engineering, boosting the engines will help the helmsman. Info-war, getting a lock-on will help the gunner. And everybody is kind of communicating to one another.
I once tried to run Traveler, and while I don't have the usual complaint about Traveler that you can die during character creation, I actually think that's kind of cool. There was a point where the guy trying to pilot the ship flubbed a roll, and therefore the whole party died.
He flubbed one roll.
And the whole party died. I didn't feel like I was GMing it wrong, I just felt like that was what happened. But anyway, so Singularity System is the response to everything I like about Traveler and everything I don't like about it.
And
okay.
So then last year or this year, he looked at it again and he said, well, we promised that it would do really fast, big starship combat, but
it can only do one or the other.
It can only do really one or the other, like small engagements or a really long
So we released a
combat.
free PDF called Epic Space Battles as a Band-Aid, essentially. And that Band-Aid is nominated for an Emmy Award this year for Best Free Product.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. And it was
so
a lot
we'll be
of
at
fun
the
to
award
play
show
test.
Friday night. Not winning, because Paizo always does.
That's okay. I'll be there.
Well, how many best free?
Yeah, they're
things?
probably not in the category. The joke kind of doesn't work. They're not in the category.
Who won?
We could win. Anything is possible.
But we were nominated
She's
for
got a really
best
fancy
They're not
dress.
in the category for
Best free
Product.
products? No, they're not actually.
Oh.
They do always win the Emmys. That is known.
Who won best
Actually,
free game?
last year or the year before, they did not.
Yeah, it was last year. It was I think World.
This is actually our second Any Nod. The first Any Nod we got in 2013
for a
free
game
we released for free, even though it has production values like what you saw. It's free. That's because I don't own the IP. It's a grindhouse horror role-playing game called Phantasm, based on the movies of the same name.
And because it was free, I did all of the illustration myself, which is probably a mistake, and I never did it. I never did that again.
Yeah, but it got an Any nomination. So.
Yeah,
It must have been something, right?
I want to know who won that year for best free game.
I don't know.
I think it might have been Catalyst or something with the quick start rule or something.
Dungeon World came out that year, so I don't know.
Anyway,
Game C.
Yes, and this is the reason when he said, "Hey, want to do a game company?" This is the reason I said yes, because when we first started dating, I played this game when it was in its early, primordial stage, and I was like, "This is the best game ever."
It was in the third
I
of
love
3 unpublished editions.
It is
Not
fantastic.
very many people can do psionics well.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do you want to pitch it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Okay. So, present day, present time. You have psychic powers. You are a troubled youth, or somebody on the outskirts.
Or an embedded adult. Either
Yeah, or just someone on the outskirts of society, maybe. Somebody with problems. And one of those problems is that you have incredible psychic powers, and global conspiracies are constantly chasing you, attempting to capture and control you. We remain free. Will you join one of these conspiracies? How many will you accidentally kill on the way? How many people will you kill on purpose on the way?
Yeah. So basically, if you've ever wondered why Firestarter or Akira or Scanners were not made into an RPG, they finally have been.
And
we publish it.
It's
our bestseller. It was a hugely successful Kickstarter. The book is gorgeous. There's a comic book now.
And,
Nice.
What I like about it is so much with the genre of having powers, it edges into the territory of being about superheroes. But in reality, not everybody is going to be able to have, the intestinal fortitude to go fight crime. Maybe they can't because the government wants to lock them up, or maybe they want to work for the government and spy on the Russians using psychokinesis. Who knows? But this is powers without superheroism, and I think that's a genre that doesn't turn up too often.
Oh, psionics
in gaming.
in the modern age does not exist in gaming outside of this game. Like very, very little.
Yeah, no.
It keeps getting put into D&D and
I mean,
D&D clones, which is weird to me, but
Or cyberpunk stuff.
So, yeah, cyberpunk.
occasionally, yeah.
Minis, though. I mean, there's not a lot. Okay. I'm kind of going on a limb here. How many cyberpunk RPGs are there? There's not really.
There's Shadowrun and there's Cyberpunk 2020.
But yeah, there's not a lot that are notable. I mean,
What about cyberpunk? That just
That's a little one, but yeah.
yeah, but still, it's like that are
it's
really
a
notable.
small field.
I mean, it's small.
It is
There's
small.
too basic.
yeah.
I've seen a lot that are so. There are these shelves at conventions that I think of as the elephant graveyard, where game lines that didn't make it go to die, and there's a lot of cyberpunk games there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But as far as actually on the market, I think, yeah, it's Cyberpunk 2020, the original, which is actually kind of blown up. They got a video game coming out now, and Shadowrun, which is doing great, and which I love. Shadowrun was my day job for many years. I got a story coming out. I got to plug it. Drawing Destiny, the Shadowrun Tarot anthology. I got a nice little orc-exploitation story in there where everybody is high on kamikaze and deep weed and fucking shit up, and it's great. And they fight the Yakuza, and it's great. And read it.
A lot of very friendly people who are very good writers have written for that book. So you should get it.
Oh, and the idea of an actual Shadowrun Tarot deck is also really cool.
Yeah,
Anyway,
why not?
so Psionics. One more thing about it. It uses the Dice Punk system, same system that Phantasm uses, and it's available online. Not only is it free, but it's released as an SRD under Creative Commons for people to hack and play with. It's not going to have any of the psionic stuff in there, but it is going to have the basic core mechanics, which are really, really tight. It's at a really good sweet spot as far as like rules light, rules medium.
And if you have an idea for a setting and you like the way Dice Punk rolls, then you are more than welcome to make a game.
Yeah, we're looking to grow it. That's why we did a Creative Commons.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, that's us ranting about our games for an appropriate amount of time. We will now field questions.
What's your next plans?
We are doing a Kickstarter in October for Systems Malfunction. This is a pretty good pitch. It's so it's going to have this, right? This whole system. It's also going to have a setting built in, and that setting has been developed primarily organically through 10 years of actual play.
Very nice.
It was once a LARP.
Systems Malfunction, coming to Kickstarter October 2016.
Okay.
And yes, it's a very well-beloved world. The people who played in it still... We still discuss the history of it as though it is stuff that has actually happened to us.
Yeah, like some people are about Star Wars or Star Trek. We're very passionate about this science fiction universe I made up. And we actually did standalone setting books that go with this game for it. There's 2 of those left in existence. I expect them to sell out over the course of the con, because 2 is not a hard number of books to sell. And then there will be the Kickstarter in October, and we kind of want to do what Champions did for their 6th edition, where they had, so in 5th edition, there was the giant hero system book, and then if you wanted a genre with your system, you had to buy another giant book. But they made something called Champions Complete, which was both in a smaller, more attractive book, and that's what the Kickstarter's for.
Okay.
I also have a dream that I don't know if it is even possible, but my father and my mother met tabletop role-playing, playing my dad's fantasy heartbreaker, Legends of Lucara, and when
Second generation.
we went into business, my dad kind of bequeathed it to him and said, do what you will with this, and it still exists, and I'm hoping that someday we will be able to release it, maybe not as in transmission, but under like an imprint or something like that.
He developed it from OD&D in the 70s, and as far as I know, even though he never went into the industry or got any credit for it, it was the first role-playing game that used a computer program to generate characters.
All characters are randomly generated by a program,
cool.
and then you assign like what race and class they are based on what numbers come out.
But I think that's down the road for us.
Yeah.
Rebooting Legacy, which is an unpublished game her dad wrote ages ago.
That's just like
the first time that I met her family, her dad was DMing and fucking killed us all.
That's old school.
So our Systems Malfunction Kickstarter in October, and then after that, years in the future, looking at bringing back some very old school shiznit.
maybe in between that, we want to release an 80s source book for psionics.
That'd be pretty cool.
Talking about the punk movement and the Black Panthers.
It's where the movies that inspired it are from, all of them.
Right.
Yeah, like all of the rebellion.
The comics got a
in the
#1
80s.
too. So if that sells, I want to make that into at least a miniseries.
Yes, I just want to pitch our artist here, Kyle Houston. He drew.
But he's ours. But he's mine.
No. He drew.
He's a baller. He's amazing.
The entire comic. He was going to do pencils.
If
and
you know anything about comics, he did pencils, he did ink, he colored, he lettered.
Everything. And
wow.
I did stories, she did script.
And he
it's
was gonna hire out.
It's amazing.
He was gonna hire out to some other people, and he was like, you know what? I thought I could do it better, so I decided I'd just do it all myself.
So yeah, our plan is
Kyle Houston. If you want an artist, he's a good one.
Support the Dice Punk game line, support the Splinter game line, support the Singularity game line. And eventually we'll release a new game, but not until we're much bigger. Because 3 is enough for 2 people to keep alive in this day and age.
It's true.
That's just my buddy calling me.
I like it.
It's Spy Hunter.
I know.
I
love
know
it.
it is.
No, they don't. My kids are like, what's that? That game's older than you are.
I had to play that in band in middle school. Because it's from James Gunn. Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, so anything else you want to know about our company or products?
I could probably keep you here till midnight.
Well,
I could stay here but talk to more people.
we're trying to do this show at the same level as Fantasy Flight Games with a crew of 3. I don't think it's ever been done.
Speaking of which, where is John?
He's running a game.
I thought he was done by now. We have
his
one more
things
person.
run late because he doesn't jam as fast as me. All right,
That's fair.
So no, it's we're either going to do something that's never been done before, which is do this con at a ridiculously high scale, to a ridiculously small number of people, or we're going to die historic on the Fury Road. Either way,
all right,
works for me.
That works. I think that pretty much covers it until I get into the meat of things. And you guys are going to be at Origins again next year?
Yep,
yes.
we always do Origins.
Origins
game is
so
strong.
you guys are pretty local then?
Hell no. We flew out here from New York.
Oh, okay.
Origins we drive. Indianapolis a little too far.
I kind of want to drive next year because there's always so much stuff to take.
The good news is Gamma will move your product from Origins to Gen Con. They charge you for it, but they handle it.
That's pretty cool.
It's better than taking it home from Ohio to New York and then New York to Indy.
It used to be Lauren Coleman doing that, but I think this year it was Fern.
And we got a mess of demos if you want to come check one of them out. A lot of them have unsold tickets because they just went up recently.
We'll see if I get my money in time. I have my debit card at home.
Oh,
man.
They shut off my debit card when I arrived. No, they shut it off when we had to stop in Chicago between New York and here. And apparently because there'd been some unauthorized use of my debit card in June, they decided to shut it off now at the beginning of August. Stranding me in a strange city with no fucking money. Sorry, I hope your viewers will excuse my terrible potty mouth.
Sure they will. Potty mouth.
I'm worse than he is. I use it as
transmission
punctuation.
games, swearing like sailors.
Instead of periods, the F word. Oh, John came up with a good slogan for us today.
Roll dice, cars explode?
Yes,
yeah.
Roll dice, cars explode.
It's true.
That's for that second game.
That's for Psionics, but honestly, I just like it for everything. I'm just going to use it all the time now.
Yeah.
You guys?
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Is that what you're looking for?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, very cool.